Today is the last day of our tour, out exploring the lovely Northumberland countryside and along the old Hadrian's Wall Trail. Kit and I are leaving Wylam to find our way home via Newcastle and London. We have reserved seats on the 14:31 Azuma service from Newcastle Central to London King's Cross, but first we need to catch the local service from Wylam over to Newcastle. Here goes then, catching a 158 Express Sprinter eastbound to Newcastle. We should have about an hour and a half spare time in Newcastle, and I'm hoping to walk along the quayside and then a dive into the Old George Inn for a pint. Approaching Newcastle Central Station from this direction since the early 1980s is via the south bank of the Tyne and over the King Edward Bridge. The King Edward Bridge was built in 1906 on the west side of the station to supplement the older double-deck bridge which links on the east side of the station. I've been using this station since the mid-1980s, but haven't been back much recently. This view shows the lovely sweeping curve of the roofline and platform back in 1850. The columns were then not in the platform area back then, and I guess the track alignments were completely different too. Several LNER 800 class units are passing through, and this one, an 801 class Azuma 9 set, is departing in service with its pantograph raised. In contrast, this Trans-Pennine Express Class 802 arrives, having just passed the castle. Whereas the LNER livery includes sweeping lines of colour and detail to include the cab side window in the design, pretending it's almost like an eye, these have very angular straight lines of colour and don't blend in the side windows at all. This 5-car set is using its onboard generators to provide power instead of using the pantographs. Ready to depart from platform 4 are 2 sets of cross-country 220 class units forming an 8-car service. I'm not an expert, but I think the leading 4-car set are 221 Super Voyager class units, and the trailing 4 cars are the standard Voyager 220 class units, originally from the Virgin cross-country franchise. They don't have pantograph pickups as their routes are only partly electrified, so they have diesel engines to provide all on-board power. Leaving the interests of the trains and the lovely station behind for an hour or so, Kit and I are heading into town. First off, we look at the Black Gate, part of the old city defence and wall. Always interested in a bit of bridge architecture, we're going over to look at the high-level twin-deck bridge. This is the oldest modern crossing, being built in 1849 and designed by Robert Stephenson, the son of George Stephenson, whom I spoke about in a previous video. 3 tracks use the upper deck, whilst the lower deck is used by taxis and buses in one direction only these days. The pedestrian walkway provides a great viewpoint overlooking the low-level swing bridge dating back to 1876, a little newer than the high-level bridge. The famous Tyne Bridge was opened in 1928 and then was the main road bridge across the Tyne. I used to go aboard the Tuxedo Princess, a nightclub ship moored directly under the bridge on the Gateshead side back in the early 1980s. Back at the triangle where the tracks diverge off away from the roadway, Kit and I find the old route down to the quayside. The old swing bridge still operates occasionally, but does not have much traffic going over it these days. It was built on the site of a series of much older bridges, the first dating back to the Roman times. This rather more modern variant is clever as the deck spins about the central axis, so craft can navigate up and down the Tyne with no height restrictions. The quayside is so much tidier these days. Back in the 1980s it was quite dirty and grim. The Sunday market out today, the brighter weather, the new buildings and upgraded pavements all help to make this area a fun place to walk along. The Millennium Footbridge was installed by a massive crane all in one go in 2001 and has since been a local attraction to the area. Some people call it the winking eye, as when it moves it appears to be an eyelid moving. Anyhow, walking out along its lightweight structure, the view along the Tyne shows the relatively new Gateshead Sage Concert Hall, opened in 2004, as well as the other bridges crossing the Tyne. I've not mentioned the newer Queen Elizabeth II bridge for the Metro line. Its blue paint is rather different to the red of the Swing Bridge and the other softer colours of the other bridges. Kit and I have enjoyed our day out so far, and if you're still watching, I guess you've enjoyed the video so far too. If so, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps my channel and gives me a pat on the back as well. There was another old iron bridge just beyond the blue bridge called the Red U Bridge, right where the modern concrete one now carries the A189. Back in the early 1980s, I remember the old metal bridge being taken down.
The bridge right above.
Back along the quayside, we then head up under the Tyne Bridge to find the way up to the monument, more in the centre of town. Stevenson's statue stands proudly in front of the central station. Time was getting a bit tight, so Kit and I walked quickly up Granger Street towards the monument. Eldon Square Shopping Centre is just tucked around the side here. It was quite new when I used to live here, and it was an impressive place, being one of the largest shopping centres in the country at the time. It's less prestigious looking now, but it must have had some sort of tidy up recently. Keen on a pint in the Old George, we cut down Grey Street, past the Theatre Royal, and dived into the back paths to get to the Old George. Inside, it's hardly changed. A bit brighter maybe, and no clouds of smoke obviously. I remember this area being rammed with students, and just above head height thick with cigarette smoke.
Very good. Well, end-ish. End-ish.
I wanted to look out for a shop that I used to buy my original camping gear, and it's still there on the lower part of Dean Street. My old tent, rucksack, many pairs of boots, my first Gore-Tex jacket all came from this lovely shop. Back at Central Station, we checked out our departure and waited for the train's arrival. An 800 class Azuma train departs from platform 3. I didn't catch where it was off to, but from its fleet number, I think it's the oldest of the Azuma 9-car set operated by the LNER, built in 2015. This cheeky Tesco's train draws all the way through the station instead of using the bypass tracks just outside the station on the south side. The Class 66 unit is one of about 25 that direct rail services use, but a member of a very extensive set of similar freight locos in use widely across the UK by other operators. Now on our train, we depart Newcastle Central, back over the King Edward Bridge, heading south on our way back home.
Good afternoon, this is the 1431 LNER service to London King's Cross, that is called at Darlington. York to Doncaster, Retford to Peterborough, and scheduled to arrive into London at 17:42. If you have just joined there at Newcastle and you have a seat reservation, then please do attempt to stick to this if your seat is available. If you don't have a seat reservation, you are advised to travel in coach C if you are travelling in the rear. 5 carriages.
If you see something that doesn't look right, speak to our onboard team or text British Transport Police on 61016. We'll sort it.
As the scenes rush past the window, we spot the stations we stop at and monitor our progress against the schedule. York Station is beautiful, I think. I like the yellow brick and the slight curve to the canopy. Just a brief stop here before heading on down the line. The ride in the Azuma 801 class was very comfortable, not too noisy, supportive seats and headrest, and enough space for our legs to stretch out a little. Our story is not quite over yet, but if you've enjoyed following along with us during this journey, please check out the next up video at the end of this one if you haven't seen it already, or the playlist of similar videos on the right. Back in London, this time at King's Cross Station, our next challenge is to cross under London by tube to get to Waterloo Station. We can't go direct, so we will take the Piccadilly line south and change at Leicester Square.
This is a Piccadilly line service to Heathrow Terminal 1, 2, 3 and 5. Onto a Northern Line service south for 3 stops, we arrive at Waterloo. Straight up at Waterloo to the mainline station, we're lucky with train times out towards Basingstoke.
back on the familiar 450 stock units in the older livery, we settle back in our seats for the last leg of our journey home. The stop at Woking reminds us that we're getting near to our final destination. Until the next adventure, thanks for watching and bye for now.